Welcome everybody to the University of Northampton. My name is Katie Pascoe. I'm the Programme Leader for our Entrepreneurship and Innovation Programme. This is a very different business programme, and what we want to do is go through some of the aspects of this programme and give you some of the details and show why it's different and why it's a really interesting programme that you want to be part of. Part of our ethos is very much around these three words, so experience, explore and engage. This is a very active programme. We want you to get involved. Hence it's not that sort of traditional type of business course that you might have come across before. So just to give you a bit of an overview of some of the facilities here at the University of Northampton, we are based at Waterside, which is a very new campus. It's only been open a few years. We're interested in you getting more than just a good degree, hence that ethos of explore, engage, experience. Yes, you're here to read for a degree, learn all about entrepreneurship, learn about business and how to innovate in business. But beyond that, we want you to work with small businesses, get involved with entrepreneurs and actually have that out of the classroom experience. One of the unique things about this programme is that actually we include all of the compulsory study trips. So it's part of your course fees, you don't have to pay any extras outside of spending money, etc. Okay, so some of those study trips include London in your very first year of study. In our second year, we take you off to New York. And those study trips are all about getting you to work with small businesses, meet lots of entrepreneurs, see how business is done in different environments. Again, getting you outside of that classroom. Some of the other aspects of the course that you'll be studying, we get you to work on your enterprise certificates, so just gathering more awards, more incentives, good for building your CV, etc. whilst you're here. We also support you after you graduate. That's really important to us as well. So you are lifetime members, if you like. Your alumni is really important to us. So once you've graduated, you can pitch £1,000 towards your business. You can have a 6-month co-working space as well, which is all supported by the university. So we want to sort of take you beyond the classroom and out once you're a graduate as well. Details on the website, but as first year students you also get our laptop package, so you arrive with a laptop that you can use throughout your studies and all of the software that you need for that as well. We have a fantastic record of graduate employability. That's very important to us. Again, whilst you're studying here, you get a good degree, you get lots of experiences, but that goes on into the workplace. So whether you decide to work for yourself and be self-employed, or you work within another company, we support you on that journey. The University of Northampton has got a very good record of teaching. We've been awarded our gold status, and that hopefully will reflect in the experiences that you have within the classroom. We're also the UK's first Changemaker campus. You'll hear quite a lot about Changemaker and social impact and how that you can make business decisions and look at business opportunities that have real social impact into your local community and beyond. So that's a really important feature as well. So in terms of the entrepreneurship and innovation overview, how we teach, what do we do, etc. I want to give you a few more details. We break it down into sort of 3 broad areas over the years of study. Okay, so your first year is looking at operations. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? How do we innovate? What are the sort of the building blocks, if you like? Your second year moves you on to looking at the feasibility. So how do you know if it's a good idea? What are you looking for? What are the sort of the tick boxes that you're trying to find? Your final year focuses more on strategy. So what do you do with that? How do you grow a business? Where are the mega trends occurring in the future? Okay, so we take that sort of broad sort of view across the 3 years. What you'll find when you're here is that our teaching style tends to be very different. We have done away with huge lecture theatres that you might see in other universities. It's frankly not a very effective way to learn. Okay, so we've done away with all of that. We have lots of small group workshops instead. So typically you'll be in a room with perhaps no more than about 20, 25 people, which is much more effective. You get a discussion, you can work together, talk, and sort of debate what the issues might be that that particular session is looking at. So lots of small sessions, seminars, tutorials. We'll have independent groups as well that you'll work with, and then you'll come back, meet with your tutor and have one-to-ones in that sense. There might be some online activities as well. So whilst the vast majority of what we do is very much classroom-based and in contact, we do use some online methods as well. So you'll see some e-activities, you might have online sessions talking about assignment briefs and things like that. In particular, some of the experiences that you're going to have be really important. I've sort of mentioned some of these already, but you cannot develop on a programme like this unless you're going to fully engage with the environment around you. So we want you to meet real entrepreneurs, we want you to work with small businesses, and we want you to network with entrepreneurs, business owners beyond the UK's borders. So you'll find all of that embedded within your modules throughout your course. Okay, it doesn't happen in one isolated spot, it's embedded throughout, which is really, really important. Just to reiterate some of the learning and teaching practices that we have, I've mentioned a little bit about some small interactive group sessions. We have lots of spaces across the campus where you can work either individually or you can work in small groups, you can book rooms out. It's very sort of flexible in terms of an environment. So yeah, very non-traditional in that sense. And as it says, you know, both sides have been designed to give you a personalised learning experience. So you can tailor that to your own learning needs, essentially. Okay, so in terms of the content of your programme, I'll break it down into the 3 years of study. We'll talk about the optional placement year as well. And I'll highlight some of the key modules that you'll find on this programme. Okay, so in your first year, this is what you would be looking at. Now, there are a variety of business courses out there that will dabble in some entrepreneurship modules, they're sort of isolated modules. That is not what we do. That's not what we're about. We're very much entrepreneurship as a core. And you'll see this in terms of some of the module titles and some of the examples that I will give you. So things like entrepreneurial skills development. One of the very first modules that you'll study, it is all about you, it is all about entrepreneurial skills. What skills do they have? How do we recognise them? And more importantly, how do you then develop them? So you need to recognise the skills that you've got, what you need, and how you're then going to develop them. So very, very important early module that you'll do. Our Enterprise in Live Context module, this is where we get you out. Most of the module is about meeting entrepreneurs and their small businesses, being able to compare experiences. This is the module where we get you out to our London study trip, again, meeting a variety of different organisations, so it's getting you out there. Our Professional Practice module, again, it's very much about developing you and your professional skills. So what do you actually need to be an entrepreneur? We look at networking, we look at building relationships, we look at communication skills as well. So making sure you have those tools to be able to develop as an entrepreneur. Our Innovation Bootcamp module, again, is very much about looking at the social impact of businesses. So where are the opportunities in that sort of sector? Okay, looking at social enterprise, looking at community, looking at creating businesses and being quite innovative in areas that perhaps others are not. So that gives you a little bit of a broad overview of that first year of study. When we look at your second year, if you remember back to the previous slide, we talked about feasibility. So again, this is about sort of testing what we know. We build on what we've done in our first year, and our second year is looking at, well, how feasible is some of this? Our creativity and feasibility module does exactly that. It's saying, okay, well, let's come up with lots of wonderful ideas, but actually what we know about entrepreneurs is most ideas don't work. A lot of businesses fail. So how do we know what could potentially work? How do we know if it's feasible? Taking away that fear about failing is quite important in that module, because most businesses, as I say, don't pan out the way we think they're going to. Some of the other ones are Entrepreneurial Study Tour. Again, as it sounds, that is the one where we take you out to New York. Meeting lots of entrepreneurs, meeting lots of small businesses, getting a flavour of business outside of the UK, which is really, really important. As I previously said, that is very much all included. Okay, so we cover the costs of your flights, your hotels, all of your transfers, etc. You need to provide your spending money essentially for that one. But a huge experience, wonderful to sort of see business in a different context. Our consultant entrepreneur module is very much around getting you to work with small businesses. So you form a consultancy team, you pitch for a client brief, and as a result of winning one of those pitches, you will get to work with a small business on an issue that they have set out. So this could be something like marketing, it could be to do with identifying their target market a little bit more clearly. We've had in the past concept businesses, so businesses which are just about to launch and are looking for launch strategies. So we've had a whole host, a whole variety in there. Every year is very different. The Issues in Small Business and Entrepreneurship module, that one is much more about getting you to focus on an area that you're interested in actually. So what you tend to find with a lot of our assessments is that you can tailor them and flavour them to something that reflects your interest. Okay, so you might not know what that is yet, but as you sort of progress through your programme, you'll start thinking, oh, actually, I like information about that, I want to learn about this kind of business or that sort of industry, etc. And that's one of those modules where you can sort of dig deep into an area of your choice and go further with it and sort of really sort of do some good research into those sorts of areas. Okay, so after your second year of study, you're invited to take an optional placement year. So this takes place over a 48-week period. It's supported by our placement team who are fantastic at developing your interview skills, getting your CV ready, all of those sorts of things. They support you all the way through. They don't get you the job, okay? You have to apply and you have to win yourself that job, but the support is all the way through for you. The knock-on effect of taking that placement year, frankly, is huge. You have a really good CV builder, the experience that you've had. You tend to do very, very well on your placement year, and therefore you achieve very high grades on the module that you take whilst taking that year. And what that impact has on your degree classification is that basically it goes up. There are very, very few instances where that doesn't actually happen. So it actually lifts your whole degree classification. So it's really, really valuable. So that, as I say, takes place after your second year of study. Hugely important, would always recommend it. If that's not for you, you do have another option. And a lot of our entrepreneurship students sort of make that choice between these two options. And the other option is to do internships. So as an undergraduate student, you tend to have quite a lot of time over the summer. You know, you'll have that sort of 3-month stretch between your first year and your second year and your third year. You'll have Christmas breaks, things like that. And what we encourage you to do is to get experience. So you might take short placements that are sort of 2, 3, 4 months long and gain your experience that way. It's not accredited in the same way, but it's still very, very valuable both in terms of your CV and also your personal development. So whichever way you do it, get that experience. It's really, really important, really valuable, and really makes a difference to how employable you are at the end of your course. So regardless of whether or not you're going to want to work within an organisation or set up your own business, it builds all the skills that you're going to need. Okay, so your final year of study looks a little bit like this. Okay, so you have a number of core modules that you'll study, and then you have some optional modules depending upon the flavour of your degree, the direction that you want to go in. So our core modules entrepreneurial strategy, is a little bit as it sounds. It's looking at strategy for entrepreneurial organisations. It's looking at growth options, whereas sort of the future trends occurring, etc. What strategies could you use to implement in certain types of organisation? business planning. So if you are interested in setting up your own business, a lot of students come to us now with the view that they want to be self-employed. It's very much a positive career choice. They don't necessarily know what they want to do, but they spend a few years with us sort of working that out. So for some students, they use that business planning module to look at what they might do. Okay, and create a business plan, do all of the research that sits behind it, and so that they are ready and fit. Once they've graduated, they could go and actually do that. If you're still a little bit unsure, this is a really good sort of area where you can do a bit of a test run and do some research into an industry, a sector, kind of business that you're interested in. So again, really good from a developmental point of view. Disruptive innovations, again, looking at tech, looking at where the future of business might be. Something that I've mentioned quite a lot within this course, that we've incorporated within this course, is that it's future thinking. Okay, there's no point looking behind us at what has gone on, etc. That's not where the innovation is going to come from. Innovation comes from new ideas, new creativity, use of new technology, etc. So it's definitely a theme and a trend that runs throughout this whole programme. Your optional modules include your independent research projects. You can go one of two ways with this. You can either go down the dissertation route, which is sort of the traditional undergraduate route where you do sort of a big dissertation on a research area of your interest, or you can do sort of a smaller version of that. It's still an independent research project, but it's more of a sort of an applied analysis of an existing sector and looking at opportunities within that. So depending upon how you study, what you're interested in, maybe what your future goals are, you can sort of decide which of those you want to go for. And then again, you have some option modules in here. Content creation for marketing is a module designed very much with the view that if you can do something yourself, you don't have to pay somebody else to do it. So this is getting you to use all of the tools and techniques, looking at digital marketing, looking at social media marketing, etc., website, and so on. So you sort of have to learn the tools and techniques that you need to be able to do those things yourself for your business or the business that you're working within. And then likewise, digital entrepreneur, as it sort of sounds, is looking at the sort of use of digital tools within an entrepreneurial environment. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an overview of the content of the course, and hopefully some of the themes that are coming through is that it's very active, it's very vocational, it's about doing, it's not just about learning about it, it's about engaging with the process and having a go yourself. It's about being quite active learners. We don't want you to be sort of passive learners where you just listen to it, or we want you to actually have a go yourself. It's really, really important to us because that is the entrepreneurial way. In terms of where our students go, so you've graduated, you've got your good degree, you've got all of your experience that we've talked about. It's pretty broad. As I say, you're essentially looking at, you've got a business degree, and so many doors are open to you. What you will have done throughout your course is pick on certain different sectors, different industries. You might be looking down the social enterprise route. So you can flavour your career according to your interests. And this slide just gives a bit of an overview of where some of our graduates have gone. All right, so some certainly have gone into starting new ventures, some are very entrepreneurial and have started multiple ventures. Some have gone into the not-for-profit sector, they've gone down the sort of change maker route, looking at social impact. Some have gone down the marketing route. We have lots of students that, you spend quite a bit of time developing your skills in business, focusing it on smaller businesses. Okay, so marketing for small business as opposed to marketing for a larger organisation. So you'll have all of those marketing skills and you're becoming a little bit of a marketing specialist for small entrepreneurial organisations. So that's an area that's often quite interesting. Lots of our students are going into digital, again, digital marketing, digital businesses, etc. So yeah, you have a lot of doors open to you, a lot of scope as to where you want to go based on the experiences that you've had whilst you've been studying with us. So yeah, it's pretty broad and varied for you to make the most of. This is literally just sort of picking up a few aspects to do with some of the incentives. So we talked about trips and laptops and internships, etc. Make sure that you make the most of everything while you're here. And lastly, what we do is we support you outside of your academic life. Okay, so whilst you'll have your course tutor that will be with you throughout the duration of your programme with us, you'll also have a personal tutor, so we want to look after all of your pastoral needs as well, so they will be a point of contact for you. You'll never be lost in the crowd. We get to know our students, we know you well. As I've said, we talk to you in work with you in small groups. You're never in this big lost lecture theatre, one of 300 people. We get to know you on a much more personal level. So you'll have your programme leader there, your personal tutor. We also help you with all of your money matters. So we have a financial team that will help you, again, guide you with what you could be eligible for in terms of additional funding and things. We have our residential life team that look after all the accommodation, all the halls of residence, etc. And we also have our health team as well. So we have surgery with GPs on campus and so on. So you register with them when you arrive with us and things. So we cover the whole package basically. It's not just an academic side of things, it's all of the other elements as well that go along with it. If you've got any questions, we're going to put details up at the end of this as to how you can make contact